Hi everyone, welcome to the Cosplay Crunch. Each week we gather to talk all things cosplay and conventions, from personal experiences, useful tips and advice, horror stories and hot takes, and sometimes the latest news and drama. We have it all. I am your host, Zavage Cosplay, and this episode we are joined by someone that I have wanted to talk to and hold captive audience for a long time at this point, the self-proclaimed cosplayer of pretty men. Please welcome JackErufu. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy you're here. And I meant it when I said hold captive, because I don't know that you're ready to spend an hour plus just with me, because, well, actually, no, I think we are, because I think that we vibe on like a level that's beyond this plane.
So far, I would agree with that. Yeah. I don't know if you and I have actually, and this is crazy, I don't know if you and I have actually sat down and talked before, because I don't think we've run into each other at a convention since pre-COVID.
Yes.
And I'm curious to know if you remember how we met, because
Yes.
I think I do.
I
But
do.
the witness to it doesn't remember, so...
No. I had it for later, but I'm going to talk about it now. So we met at, it was the blessed year of 2020, and it was Kastucon of 2020.
Yes.
And it was Fire Emblem Con. And I remember vividly, so like that was obviously the year that everyone was turning up in their Fire Emblem costumes. It was basically Fire Emblem Con for everyone. And I remember vividly, I don't remember where it was in the Gaylord, but I know it was in the Gaylord when I saw a Ferdinand cosplayer. And I lost my mind, because I was like, oh, because first of all, he's one of the most underrepresented cosplayed characters out of that.
It's true.
Yeah. And I saw the most like handsome Ferdinand that looked so correct. And I was just like, who is this person? And I think I did what I normally do when I see someone that looks so perfect. I just ran up and I was like, you look amazing. Talk to me. I need your attention.
I think that's right. I might be getting my days mixed around, but I think So what were you wearing? Do you remember what you were wearing?
I don't remember, because I remembered I was wearing Dimitri on Saturday and I was wearing Hubert on Sunday. So 2 of the 3 days, well, depending on how long you're there, like 2 of the days I was in Fire Emblem, like full Fire Emblem cosplay. I think it was Saturday, Sunday.
My memory tells me that you were in your like redesign of Link with Carol.
Wait, that might have been it.
And this is crazy because I was supposed to be in cosplay whatever morning that was, but I just like was not having it. And I went up to you with my friend who was dressed as Aerith, and I think I remember that's when I met you, because I think I found you online because I found like you and Carol's Link and Zelda again.
But had you cosplayed Ferdinand before we met?
I don't think so.
Because you cosplayed that weekend though. You cosplayed him that weekend.
Yeah. That's how I met Mindy too.
Maybe it was because I don't know. I know that Friday was the first time that Cowbutt Crunchies held the cosplay Met Gala. And that Friday I did wear Link and Carol wore Zelda for that Met Gala. But it's possible that maybe we met on Friday and then maybe the following day when you were in Ferdinand, I saw you again.
It's possible.
It's that convention, that specific Kastucon was such a blur, but I do remember that the first time that we met, at least at some point that weekend, you were in that costume and I gushed over you.
I remember I saw you more than once, so I think...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was out of cosplay. I like looked like I had like glasses on. Like no. I'm glad you don't remember what I looked like, because I was haggard. Let me tell you.
That's how you haven't seen me out of cosplay after the end of the night when I have my wig hairs matted down so severely from like the grease and the sweat that it literally looks like a helmet attached to my body, and I have to wear a hat on my head to hide the shame of how like nasty it looks. That's rat behavior. No, I mean, I guess it was, I don't know, that time was such like an idyllic time for me, because I feel like that was, well, before we even knew, well, okay, obviously COVID had started in China in like December, but I feel like none of us collectively in the US really were thinking about it at the beginning of February.
No.
So we all showed up, just Fire Emblem on the mind, and that was it. And then it was such an amazing weekend. And then shortly, I think the weekend after, like maybe 2 weeks after, is when everything locked down.
Yeah, I think like 2 weeks after is when everyone was kind of going, okay, like maybe figure out like a plan B, and then yeah, it's wild.
I know, it's
Like it
crazy.
was so long ago now too. Like it feels like a dream.
I know, it really does. But anyway, we're here now, surprisingly. Okay. We always start a lot of times with cosplay beginnings. I want to know how you started cosplaying as someone from the most blessed state of our nation,
Oh,
Ohio.
oh boy, oh boy, yeah.
And I say that just because of all the memes of it all. But I do have some friends that live in Ohio. And I also, when I lived in Erie, Pennsylvania for six
This is
months,
lore I didn't know about you.
yes, Laura, I drove to Cleveland like once or twice or three times to go to Costco.
God, I mean, we have more than one in Cleveland now, so I can tell you that. But um, yeah, so I don't really know how like what the average age of your guests are on this podcast, but I would hazard a guess that I'm probably on the younger side of
It
them.
runs the gambit from like probably like maybe 24 all the way up to the Methuselahs of it all.
Okay.
Not naming names, but we definitely had the cosplay AARP represented so far. So,
Okay.
but I would
Um,
agree.
well, that being said, I really kind of existed online at a time when YouTube was really in its heyday. Um, and I remember I first heard the word cosplay spoken to me by our mother and savior at the time. She was Mango Cyrene on
We just
YouTube.
talked about her last
No,
episode.
really?
Yes. Oh my gosh. When Sammy Stitch Crimes was on last episode, she said that. Okay, I'm not gonna pivot too far down the rabbit hole, but she said last episode you can go listen to it if you're listening and you want the whole thing. But she idolized her like I did, and she got like a judge's award from her at a convention, and we talked about her for a bit. That's crazy. Okay, continue.
Yeah,
I
no,
won't.
she was just I just stumbled upon her like some autumn day. It was like right before Halloween in like probably 2014 or something. And I had never heard the word cosplay before, but immediately I was just like, this is it. Like this sounds incredible. And it was before she really kind of got her footing online. Like she had a following, but it was very much still like shaky webcam video, like pointed at her floor, just like peak old feel of
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos. And I remember my first cosplay that I really use the air quotes liberally here. Um, it was, this is not surprising if you followed me for a long time, but it was just a generic Link
Oh,
for Halloween one year.
perfect.
I think I was in seventh grade that year, doing my math right, and yeah, that was just it was some crappy Halloween costume that I cut up an old T-shirt for, and I bought like I spray painted like a knitted sweater to look like chainmail. um,
Icon.
I mean, well, this is still like when the DeviantArt tutorials were what they were, and it was like, you need some chainmail, get a sweater that kind of looks bad, and spray paint it. And I did
Love.
that, and I made a really bad paper mache master sword, and I wore that thing to school on Halloween because everyone dressed up. And I remember my algebra teacher was like, "Oh, I know exactly what you are," because I'm green, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm green and I have a sword, and I felt very validated in that moment. Um, and at that point, I probably didn't cosplay again until the following Halloween. So could you really call me a cosplayer then? Probably not. But I didn't end up going to a con until I think it was ColossalCon Prime in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is kind of wild to think that that was my first convention I ever went to, but I just kind of day tripped. I used to live like 45 minutes from that Kalahari, so I just drove
Oh,
every
so
day.
that's in Sandusky, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Sandusky is only like 45 minutes from where you grew up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So your introduction into cosplay was very much like kind of like the Halloween under the cover of Halloween, kind of
Right.
like how like the baby drag queens get into drag and they're like, oh, I'm
Yes.
just gonna be Britney for Halloween. It's
Right.
just I'm
Right.
gonna
And
be
it's not going to be a thing. Like it's just going to be one time.
it's just one time, and so you're like, oh, for Halloween, it's just Halloween, mom. I'm just making my Halloween costume, and then I imagine that after their first ColossalCon, that's when you kind of just were like, oh my God, and you were just dragged underground by the cosplay madness.
Oh my gosh, fully. Like I had a small group of like nerd friends at the time that like knew what cosplay was, and we kind of, bounced off each other. Just because like that's just what you kind of did in those days. That was the very tail end of when anime was still not really cool. Like it was still kind of a joke
Mm.
before everyone and their mother started to watch anime. So
Mm-mm.
it was
Oh, like
a
the popularization by like Megan the Stallion, all that we have
yeah,
today.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this was kind of right at the beginning of a lot of shows. Like, I mean, this is pre Demon Slayer,
Mm-hmm.
pre Jujutsu Kaisen,
Mm-hmm.
as being like I feel like those are the two mainstream kind of shonen shows. Like it was right when
Right.
My Hero was kind of becoming what it was. So people were still kind of making fun of anime back then, and it wasn't quite just this loud and proud thing like it is now, where it's just, oh yeah, I watch anime. So I definitely
Right.
kept in my circle. But yeah, after that first Colossal Con, who I actually it was this was like a fever dream. I actually met Nina Mango Cyrene at that con because I remember, well, because she was also a Midwestern cosplayer. I
Right.
forget where she's at now. I think she's moved around, but
Mm-hmm.
she was, I think, in Michigan. So she would always hit up like all those Midwestern cons, and I just ran into her at some point that weekend, and I was like, "This is so perfect! Like, I can die now."
Oh my
I
God.
was like 15, like crazy. Um, yeah, and after that, it really was just like a downhill thing from there. Like, I've never really quite stopped. I mean, I've had times where I've been less active with it,
Sure.
but I mean, you go to your first con and you're just surrounded by all of this creativity, and you just want to do more of it.
Yeah, I totally feel that too. And like, I know that I've talked about this before, but I think a lot of us, and probably yourself included, it was kind of like a gradual learning of skills. And I will say that, like, obviously, you mentioned YouTube, having like YouTube and like, I think starting cosplaying around like 2016, like in more of a serious capacity, just like more frequently, I guess. Um, more tutorials, more resources, and more ability to learn, I think. But like, you didn't have any like formalized like training and learning how to sew or anything like that, right?
Um, Besides my grandma knowing how to sew and there being a sewing machine that would float around the family as someone needed it, like no one in my family really like sewed like that.
Yeah.
So I never learned that way. I mean, when I got my first sewing machine, I took like the 1 hour included like skills course that like they had in like the Joann's like
Mm.
sewing gallery when those were I don't even know if those still exist anymore.
I
Where
think
there's
so.
like
Well,
the
the
sewing
ones like in
machine
the Joann's
shop.
where it has like an area and it's like a bunch of sewing machines,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them have that still, but it's not like owned. Usually, it's not like owned by Joanne. It's like a third party company comes in, like rents the space inside of the Joanne,
Yeah.
and like it's like a sewing dealer that's local to that Joanne specifically, and they're the ones that actually sell the machines and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's how I learned my baseline skills. That is how I learned how to use my buttonhole foot, which I don't remember that lady's name who taught me, but I've never forgotten it since she told me how to use it, and it's been great. I don't have that machine anymore, but it was good for me for 8 years
That's what I
until
was
it
gonna
passed.
ask. I was like, you were looking over at your machine, and I was like, "Do you have the same sewing machine that you had in
So
2016?"
I it literally kicked the bucket before during Katsu Crunch for 2023.
I
It had a
remember.
good long run, and then I don't know what I think I was working on like my Peter Pan costume, which is just it was 2 layers of linen, which is like
Mm.
nothing, and it just like a screw in it broke, and then the needle like fell out of it, and then I took it to get fixed, and the guy was like, "You have to get like a whole new arm for your machine, and that's more expensive than just getting a new one." So,
Oh my God. I
and
remember you posting on Instagram and you were like, oh my God, my sewing machine's broken. I have to get a new one. And I think before I even was able to reply to you to give a recommendation, you had already sourced and purchased a new one.
well, so my Joann's here has one of those sewing galleries, so I went up there, paid $200 for a new machine, and got one. Lo and behold, that machine died before ColossalCon this year. So I fully just do not buy Singer sewing machines anymore. I am now
Preach. Wait, can we shit on Singer for a second?
shit away,
Okay,
baby.
so I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Maybe I have. I think I've said this so many times, but like, I'm an avid watcher of Drag Race and have been since like season 4. And I realized that they always gave them the Singer heavy duty sewing machine. And these queens that go on there always have problems, and like the bobbin's not winding right, or the stitching isn't going correctly. And I've always thought, at first I was like, oh my god, it's because they're unexperienced, they don't know how to sew. That was until my friend Carol Allen Coffey had a Singer heavy duty in her apartment in college, and it was the most dog shit. Okay, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. If you have a Singer and it works for you, I'm so happy. I'm happy for you, and I'm so glad that you have that. This sewing machine was demonic. It could not sew shit, and we literally almost threw it out the window. I don't know what happened to it. I don't think she still has it anymore. God, she hasn't used it, that's for sure. But like every time I see one of those Singer heavy duty machines, I want to literally like I want to throw them against a wall. And I can only imagine the drag queens on Drag Race trying to use these sewing machines because it's so bad. So I'm always like, do not buy a Singer. The Singers from like 1970s, the one that were actually made like out of like cast iron and like with good mechanics and like good like motors and everything, like stun. But the ones that are made now are literally like the bottom of the barrel. Like, no.
Well, here's the thing. I had a really brief like historical hyperfixation. So I bought it was a Singer from 1918 on eBay. It was like $300, and
Oh my
it's like
God.
this gorgeous cast iron machine, and it's like beautiful and Art Nouveau. And I mostly use it as like decoration now because but it still sews. Like I tested it out and I sewed like one of my Renaissance shirts with it, and like I tested it on like real leather, and it sewed through 2 layers of it just fine. It's a workhorse, but yeah, apparently they make their arms or their pieces with like plastic or in really cheap metal now that just bend over time and wear away. So it just they quite literally destroy themselves as you use it. So yeah,
Same.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean that's to dust we shall return. Am I right?
That's
But
cosplay.
I'm
What
looking
did
at
you end
all
up
like
getting?
now I have a Brother SE630.
Oh, nice.
So I
I'll
upgraded to
pretend I
one
know what
that
that
has like a
is.
small embroidery hoop on it, bunch of stitches, and I've really loved it. I mean, compared to my Singer, like the 2 Singers I had that were pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
All the computerized functions on it are so nice.
You want to know
They're
some
so
tea?
what?
So, brother, okay, I could be like spotting misinformation, but I'm pretty sure I'm not because I discovered this one day. Brother and Baby Lock. Have you heard of Baby Lock before? It's like a
Hmm.
sewing machine company, yeah, and they do a lot of sergers. I think that's maybe what they first got known for were sergers, and then they also do sewing machines. Brother and Baby Lock are owned by the same company, and they literally, in some cases, are the same sewing machine with different branding on them. And the Baby Locks will cost like twice as much.
I've heard that, and I'm like, that's crazy that a Baby Lock costs that much money because I've looked into their like embroidery machines before, which I could buy a house with that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
And they really just are more expensive. I looked into a Baby Lock and a Janome too, and I was researching new machines. But I love my brother.
I'm so
It's
happy
like
you
the
love your
markup
brother.
for Walmart mac and cheese, and it's just Kraft.
Can
Like the
we
Kraft mac and cheese is twice the price of the Great Value one, and it's just the same stuff.
It's literally the same thing. It's like not this. It's like different than like Burnett and Bernina, where like they're the same company and they both have like good product, but one is made of like much more higher like quality materials and like construction wise is like just different. No,
Hmm.
the Baby Lock and the Brothers a lot of times are the same exact machine.
Huh.
So it's crazy. I know when I realized that, I literally went and like I had a spiral moment where I was like, well, how many of these other machines are the same? And I started like looking into all these different ones, and I realized it's not that common. That's like one of the few that is like that. But anyway, so
Interesting.
you grew up going to cons mostly in Ohio then?
Hmm. Yep.
So what was the con landscape like in Ohio? And has it changed that much from like 2016 to 2024?
It is so interesting that you mentioned that. So this will be kind of a journey. Come along with me.
I'm so excited.
It is it was pretty standard that everyone just kind of went to ColossalCon, especially pre-COVID, because there weren't. I mean, we had ColossalCon East kind of come in the 2010s, but we didn't have like ColossalCon like Texas yet. DaishoCon was still DaishoCon. It wasn't ColossalCon North yet, and there wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
ColossalCon Cruise, which is crazy that still
I know.
exists. Um, so I thought that everyone. I mean, I grew up in Northeast Ohio, which is closer to the Sandusky area, so a lot of my friends and their friends and would all go to ColossalCon every June at the beginning of the summer, like school's out, scream and shout.
Time to
Um,
put wigs and bathing suits on.
and then get in a pool that makes your eyes sting.
Wait, yes. Wait. Okay, continue. Remind me to tell you about my burning skin at ColossalCon South, but
Oh my gosh, I
continue.
have a story about my burning eyes too. So,
Okay.
um, so that was a big one. I know that there was like a 1 day con in Akron that the university ran at the time. I never went to that, but I did hear about it. Um, and then there what were I mean, people went to ColossalCon East because it's just over in Pennsylvania. It's a 7 hour drive from where I am from still.
So pretty far.
Yeah, so it's far, but it was like it's the state over. You could make do with it.
Pennsylvania's a big state. Well, not really
It's
big, but
it's a
long.
long state.
And the hills, the mountains, the mountains.
The God, lots of John Denver on that drive. I'm telling you.
And Lana.
Um, oh my God. And then there were a lot of cons that were in Columbus. There's MatsuruCon and OhayoCon, spelled like Ohio, like good morning in Japanese.
We're gonna talk about that later.
Well, that's what I was hinting at a little bit. So
Okay.
MatsuruCon still happens. There's a couple smaller ones that are down here because I'm from Columbus now. That's where I live. And there's just some smaller ones like Anime Ohio, and there's like the GalaxyCon, which travels around. And then every winter, there's this thing called OhayoCon. It's like right after New Year's, and recently it kind of went under, but not.
So I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
When was the last OhayoCon that you went to?
I only actually ever went to one, just because I found that the MatsuruCon being in the summertime was just better for my schedule. But I went to one OhayoCon, and it was in January of 2023.
Oh, okay. So fairly recently.
Yeah, I had never gone before COVID. I never really got down here before COVID happened. I mean, I did for one time, but it was for that summer event. But yeah, in 2023 was the last one, and then like right after that is when all this drama went down with the con. So as far as I heard, no, I didn't like live in the forums. I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but
Sure.
apparently all of the con volunteers that had worked for the con for years and years and years were fired. It like changed ownership,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what kind of stuff the current owner or coordinator did, but people do not talk well about her. And there's a Facebook group with a lot of information in it. If you're
From what I like garnered from the collective was that it all started because they were like concerned that they were gonna be in like breaking the law, I think technically, because their logo was a Red Cross logo.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that it was either like copyright infringement or it was like a trademark infringement or it was like I think it might even have like a law saying that it couldn't use like a Red Cross in like the logo unless it's meant for XYZ purpose. That might not be correct, but I think that's what people were saying. But I know that like there was something problematic with their logo.
Yeah.
And also the logo didn't even make sense.
No, it was like a hospital.
I'm about to look this up. It was like for a hospital. You're right. Like Ohio, like OhayoCon logo. Cause it literally is a hospital. It's still like a lifeguard like logo. And it's an OhayoCon around it twice.
Yeah.
And
They actually just changed it. Like the Facebook group like changed its banner, so now I think it's something else now. I didn't really
now
internalize.
it's a sakura leaf.
Oh, that's pretty.
But I think that people were trying to get it to change, and then all I know is that there was a lot of brouhaha, like you said, between the staff and then the owner, who was some Melissa Phelps, might be her name.
Melissa.
Good old Melissa.
Good old Melissa.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm just looking on Wikipedia right now. Melissa Phelps, and then allegedly she was like firing all of the staff that stood up against what she was trying to do with the direction of the convention. But I think it was all started by the logo being brought up as problematic, and then it kind of snowballed from there and became this whole monstrosity mess. And then eventually, like everyone had quit. So like, yeah, January 19th, 2023. That's the one you went to, right?
Yep.
And it was in the Hyatt Regency, Columbus, Ohio. It had like 13,000 people. So like a pretty decent size. And then 2024, it was this past January 18th. Is that like right after that? Is that when all the drama started happening with it?
No. So this last time that the convention happened, there was like a soft protest kind of going on with it. Yeah, so I forget when all the stuff unfolded, but I feel like it was like the summertime of 2023 probably. So there was a lot of, like you said, brouhaha kind of going on building up to the con, and I mean, I remember a lot of the people that were local, at least, went to the Galaxy Con that was in early December as like the alternative, and then
Mm-hmm.
a lot of folks I know ghosted OhayoCon just to be in the space but not like contribute to it. Like I think there was some movement to support the food vendors because that convention center has a food court built into it that,
Okay.
and the owners of those stalls had no idea that there was a protest going on, so they obviously ordered like it was going to be for a huge convention. So I think some people tried to band together and support these small businesses, which is nice of them to be considered
Mm-hmm.
about that. But it was, I heard that the attendance was about normal, maybe a little lower than normal, but it still happened. I just don't really know. I mean, there was some like I don't even remember. I tried to stay off the internet that day. I feel like there were some weird things with like a PS4 getting stolen from the game room, and like lots of security issues and lots of scheduling conflicts that were just poor planning on the convention's part. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the con happened, and I remember there was a post from Miss Melissa about how it was a great success, and they're excited to see us all in next January. And well, so far there's been
Nothing.
very, very little information
Well,
about.
because it says that there's no date. There's no date for it,
Yeah,
right? Like, there's
yeah.
no scheduled date for this 2025 alleged event that might happen, I guess. Or, like, it just says TBA. Like, there's, like, very little surrounding OhayoCon's future, I guess, because of, I guess they don't have any staffers anymore, maybe?
Well, a lot of the OhioCon original staffers actually banded together to create a new event called SikaiCon, and it's in, I forget where in Ohio it is, but it's in like April, and that's kind of where all of them have gone to. So they've put that energy into planning another con
Good
elsewhere.
for them.
Yeah.
You know what? This website looks like it was built in like 2004 and hasn't been touched since. But their logo on their website is still the Red Cross. Only on social media has it changed to like a soccer relief, I think.
Interesting.
And then on Wikipedia, it says that the the convention contends that at the time the volunteers were removed due to organization changes surrounding the formation of the Cultural Exchange Society Inc. CESI, which is kind of funny, weird name, which as of 2024 the formation of it's still not complete, specifically the nonprofit status. The staff, as part of the Conventions of Ohio Volunteer Event Network, Coven, which is also a funny name, attempted to negotiate unsuccessfully with CESI. Why does this sound crazy? Like,
Okay,
there's the
I feel like
Coven
AI
and
wrote
there's the
this. Like,
CESI.
this does not sound real. Like,
There's the Coven and then there's the CESI, and they're like
Sussy Coven.
negotiating. It's crazy. But if you just Google like OhioCon, there's like OhioCon in turmoil, boycott looms. There's all these like there's all these headlines, and
If
there's
you want to
like
see real time, like primary sources from when the con was kind of going up in flames, there is a Facebook group called OhioCon Dumpster Fire. I'm pretty sure it's public. Just apply to join it. I'm assuming you'll be let in. So there's a lot of information there about like there's actual staff members, ex-staff members talking about their experiences in there. So if you want to see some facts, that's the place to go, I guess. I don't know. I didn't read up on it too much.
that's lovely.
Yeah.
That just proves that not all the crazy happens in Texas, just most
Mm-mm.
of it.
No,
Um
Ohio, the memes are kind of right. So
I mean, okay, so your favorite convention in Ohio probably ColossalCon Prime in Sandusky,
I would
or
I would say so. Just because it used to be this huge draw of a convention, and it still is. People still come from all over for it, but now it's a little less attended just because there is the selection of colossal cons around nowadays. But it just has the most going on. It was my first con. I haven't missed a year since 2016, except for COVID when
Mhm,
it no one went that year. So
right.
yeah, so I would say it's a rip roaring good time.
Well, what's so funny is ColossalCon South this past summer was my first ColossalCon experience, and I was so confused because I had thought that there were animals at the Kalahari. Like I thought there was like a petting zoo component. Like okay, Disney has like the Animal Kingdom Lodge, right?
Hmm.
It's like a hotel, and you go out to your balcony and you can see like giraffes and zebras and stuff. And I thought it was going to be like that as well as a water park because all of the branding, it's like Kalahari, it's like African, it's we have like
Safari, right?
safari, we have zebras and lions, tigers, and bears, and then we
Oh
have
my.
like in the hotel rooms there's like pictures of like African tribal people,
Yep.
and I'm like, okay, so where are the animals? And it's like we don't have animals here, and I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, all we have are those statues in the front of the hotel. And I'm like, what is this? And then I went through a rabbit hole and I started Googling it. And that's when I found out the Wisconsin Dells location, specifically, I think, is the only one that has animals on property. So they actually have like, I don't know if they have giraffes or what, but they have animals there.
The Sandusky one also has animals there. I think they have less than they used to because there used to be a camel and I
Wait,
think
you have
some
animals at that one?
giraffes.
Okay, I'm not gonna go that. But
Yeah,
that's crazy.
there is a petting zoo. I know there's like, I think there's some turtles. I know that there's some baby goats. Like you can pay to like give the goats a bottle, and you can get like a bucket of like carrots and apples for them. I think there's, I don't know. I think it's like ducks or something. Like
That
there's
has to be the
animals,
one
and there is
then.
like a bird sanctuary that you can go into, and you get like the stick
Ooh.
of seeds, and you. I think there's like some video of me as Prompto being terrified of these birds because they would bite you if you went in there.
Oh my god. No, that I think that must be the location that has animals. There's only one location that has animals, so it must be that one.
Yeah.
Because I lose it on Google because I was so duped and deceived when I was sitting in my hotel room at ColossalCon with all these like this cultural appropriation around me, and I was like, "Where are the animals?" And then I was like, "Oh, it's only in Sandusky."
So it's interesting because the ColossalCon and Sandusky has been the same since it opened in like the 90s or something, and it's been like
Mm.
that very kind of beige, like tribal kind of vibe, safari vibe. But they actually painted the entire resort since 2023. So when we went in 2024 this year, all the walls were like white, and like the animal photos were like mostly gone. And yeah, like the carpeting was new. Apparently they're doing a huge remodel this winter time, and they're like putting a different restaurant in there, and they're changing the rooms. So I don't know if they're doing away with like the safari theme or if they're updating it, but yeah,
Now it's
there's
just gonna be modern bougie safari.
I mean, I would love to see what that looks like. Is this like the Banana Republic, like,
Yes, it's the Banana
like from
Republic of
Safari to
all.
like Girl Boss Gray, like,
Yes. Oh my god, that's hilarious. No, because the one in Round Rock north of Austin, they were very heavily on the safari vibe for sure, for sure. And what's funny is that like there's another convention called IkiCon,
yeah,
and it's one that's been in Texas for a long time. They are actually in that venue now as well. So, but it's in winter. It's like right after New Year's, so
huh,
it's like the polar opposite of like ColossalCon time, but and it's in the same venue. So it's like really weird because I feel like we talked about this last episode too, and I don't want to bring this up, but I feel like conventions' identities are so tied to their venue. Because like if ColossalCon moved out of the Kalahari just to somewhere else, it wouldn't feel nearly the same, right? Because its identity is water park, right?
absolutely, 100%.
Right. So like it's so weird whenever IkiCon like went into that venue because it's like is this is like giving ColossalCon, but it's not because I imagine the outside's closed because it's winter.
In the winter, it does close. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Texas winters are not the same as Ohio winters, but
no, not at all.
not at all.
We do get snow.
Um, yeah. And then getting to ColossalCon too, I've always wanted to go to ColossalCon Prime as like, when you're like a baby cosplayer, not even baby cosplayer, just like a cosplayer, and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, there's so many cons I want to go to, so many things I see online, and ColossalCon Prime was always one of those because it's like, the fields with all the girlies out there, all the it girls in the fields taking their photos, and then you have like the water park of it all, and I was like, oh my god, I want to go one day, and then you look at where it is, and it's like, how are you getting there? Like you have to literally fly into the closest major city and then drive like at least an hour, if not more, to get to Sandusky.
Yeah, if you are flying in, you have to fly into Cleveland, and then I believe it's like a 45-minute to an hour drive. And I know that there is like, I mean, you can Uber, it's like $80 to 150 for an Uber.
God.
Or, I mean, I know if you're trying to get to the airport, you can call like the Sandusky like cab service and then get one back to Cleveland. But if you don't know someone that lives locally or is driving from wherever they're from and is willing to pick you up from the airport, like it's really difficult to get to. It's just expensive
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
it's
but it's
hard.
interesting you say that about like all the girlies being in the fields, because as someone that's gone to ColossalCon the last god, like 9 years, 8 years now, that culture doesn't really exist anymore. Like
Really?
if you go out in the fields on Friday and Saturday night, how it used to be was you'd have the sea of people, all these photographers, you're coughing because there's smoke bombs going off in your face, and someone's got like a boom box, and people are like doing shots and like the reeds, and it was this whole, it was this huge like source of camaraderie at the con. Now it's like you're lucky if you see two people out there. Like it is not. And I noticed that change immediately from 2019 to 2021, just in the COVID years. Like that culture just does not exist at that con anymore. And I noticed that it's getting less and less crowded every year.
Oh,
So I wonder if maybe people are prioritizing like taking photos in the arcade or at the actual water park instead of the fields, and they're maybe location shooting things more.
maybe.
But yeah, I've just noticed a huge shift, and I know other people agree with me. It's just not quite the same as it used to be. Even like you'd think people from the villas that are kind of right over by the fields would maybe migrate over, but that doesn't really happen either. It's
I
interesting.
know. It's so interesting how conventions change over time and like they either go completely away or like their venue changes or like their demographics change. And like you said, like the whole landscape of Colossal Con, I mean, the venue is the same, but like the vibes are definitely different from when you started going and then right before the pandemic to now. And I feel that too with a lot of conventions as well. It'll be interesting for me going back to OniCon in Galveston, Texas in the next few weeks because that's a convention that's my first convention I ever went to. And going back now, like it was probably over a decade later. I mean, not since I've been, but since I first went, it'll be so
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see like if it's the same, if it's different. Is it like a time capsule that hasn't changed, or is it going to be like I don't know what to expect at all?
I
But it's
wonder,
interesting.
these kids and their TikTok. Like
I
like how is
know.
that going to change things?
I know the Homestuckers of the TikTok now.
Oh my god, they're back.
Um, um, oh, another thing I actually wanted to mention related to Ohio, not OhioCon. Oh my god, put that in the grave. ColossalCon is that I learned that they're like starting their own like cosplay competition circuit.
Yeah.
Like, did you
Yeah.
see that when you went?
Mm-hmm. They are
Isn't that
finally
weird?
giving out cash prizes for winning
Well,
their masquerades.
did
Yeah,
they
and
not
they're like,
before?
no.
What did they give?
I think that they were giving out like maybe gift cards sponsored
Okay.
by, I don't know if Arda ever sponsored them, but I think
Probably artist sponsors everyone
like
somehow, even with
I
their financial situation.
yeah, it might have been like Epic or something. I think it was just like you get like your trophy or your plaque or whatever, and then you get like a reward for somewhere to
Like
use.
sponsored prizes,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. So, but the ColossalCon like masquerade was never a huge deal. I feel like, anyways,
Mm-mm.
it's just kind of like a subplot.
It's a subplot. Is it as much of a subplot as Katsucon's Masquerade, or is it a little more of a main character? Because I feel like I don't know a single person that's ever done Katsucon's Masquerade. I know you did their hall contest,
Hmm.
but I don't know a single person that's ever done their Masquerade before.
I feel like colossal cons you hear less about than Katsucon, because I feel like at
Probably,
Katsucon,
maybe.
because it is that sort of Met Gala of conventions, if you will, a lot of people like to go to the masquerade and kind of see what people are offering, because it's supposed to be this prestigious thing where everyone brings their A game.
I think the
And
convention overall, but that Masquerade, I don't know. It.
listen, if the guy would just stop panning to everyone's feet during their performances, then maybe we could talk about that. But I don't know, because I couldn't see the costumes. I was looking at people's toes instead.
The foot cam of it all. Oh my god, I forgot about that. I forgot that that was the. Okay, so for those that don't know, yeah, the infamously, I think the past year, if not 2 years, the person, the videographer that's been like responsible for actually, pointing the camera at the stage, capturing the feed, and putting it onto the screens for people to see, and maybe live stream? Question mark. I don't
I
know if it
don't
was live streamed,
I don't know if
but
it's live streamed, but they definitely record it.
yeah, record it, and they literally just focuses on people's feet for like at least a whale more than he should, like
It's
at
more than like an
least.
artistic shot's length,
No,
right?
it's a long time of foot cam for a lot of different people, and I'm just like, this is obscene at this point. But anyway, um, okay, I want to talk about the secrets to a perfect bunny suit
Oh.
because so this is something I kind of ran into when I was looking for a corset vest pattern, because I realized pretty quickly that they don't really exist. And they, with an asterisk, they do exist kind of, in the sense that like a corset vest principally uses the same things as a corset would, but it's really hard to find like male corset vest pattern online in an accessible way, even to purchase. Like I think there was maybe one or two patterns in its entirety online anywhere. And I thought that was so interesting. And the same thing for bunny suits. If you look up like male bunny suit, which is like obviously going to be different in the way that you're like, cutting things, the way you're accommodating for spaces, like it's
Spaces.
gonna be spaces.
Anatomy.
Anatomy, it's different. And so I was just absolutely gobsmacked when I saw you make your, I think it was your bee for Cloud. I
Hmm.
don't know what that's technically called, but it's like Cloud's bee skin.
Yeah, his honeybee. So it's not actually a skin that's in the game. It's in the game files, but like you never see him wear that in the game. But it's
Hmm.
just everyone wanted to see it, so people made the renders for it. But yeah, his
Yes.
honeybee in like dancer outfit, not the dress, the like the dancer's bodysuit, bunny suit
Right.
thing.
And it looks, you made it so impeccably. There is literally not, at least from like the perspective of seeing videos and photos of it close, there's not one like ill-fitted piece of that entire bunny suit. It looks like it's literally like molded to your body, which is crazy. There's like not one pucker, not one wrinkle, and I am so shook. And I know that this could be a whole masterclass, as it should be, because I've been bothering you to put
I'm working
patterns.
on it. I'm working on it. I promise.
Like put that out on some platform where you can sell those, because I am your first one. But like at a high level, like what are the secrets to making a male bunny suit like that? Like how did you even start?
Well, I had no idea that like a corseted bunny suit was even a thing besides like maybe making like a corset or wearing just like a normal corset and then putting like a stretchy bunny suit over it, because that's just what I had seen people do
Mm-hmm.
until one of my mutuals, she goes by Moth Fairy on Instagram, but on YouTube she goes by Minji Lee. She made this video and has her master's in costume design, I believe, and she made this whole like three-part series on making something called a corset body, which she kind of advertised as being this thing that can make your cosplays better because it's what these red carpet bound actresses wear underneath their like evening gowns, and it basically is just like a support garment that, because it doesn't, it looks like a bunny suit because it goes like underneath your crotch and it doesn't have any of those hard lines. Like it goes right around like the curve of your hips, and it kind of stops at like your bust, like where your dress like top hemline would be. So it doesn't have any very obvious corset lines, and it just gives your outer garment something to hold on to and look super
Right.
structured and like lifted. It's kind of like a secret to keeping strapless things up without having to use like that sticky elastic stuff.
Right.
But in the video, she also, and I fully give her credit for like sharing this concept and making like, it wasn't a tutorial, but it was very much like a, this is my sort of process, and I will show you what I do along the way, but give you some, leave some room for interpretation. She does have a whole video drafting a pattern for an AFAB body type, so that's kind of where I started
Mm-hmm.
with that. But she mentioned that you could make it like a bunny suit, and I liked it so much because it didn't involve a lacing at the back. It just zips up the back and it gets all the
Uh,
reduction down. And I just thought it looked so like clean, and like it's just a zipper. Like everyone just thinks that you just look like that because they don't
it's
see any
just
lacing. So
sickening.
like it can't be a corset, because what do you think of when you hear corset? You think of boning and then like lacing.
Right, right. It's like
So
you're disguising the boning and you're disguising the fact that it's a corset kind of by a zip. You're like, I just have a 16-inch waist.
I
It's
just,
fine.
yeah, I just like, you could just break me in half like right now if you just like pressed a little too hard. No, but I mean, her method, like her pattern drafting that she has out, and it's just totally free. I basically just made it with my measurements like as I wanted to. And I had like a little method of predicting. Like I knew how much about I could reduce down, but when you're zipping it and not like pulling it with laces, you can't quite get as much because you do have to get that zipper up, honey.
Sure,
It's got to go over
yes.
your ribs.
It's like an industrial
Um,
strength zipper too. It has to be,
it
right?
is just, it's the like the Coates and Clark. It's like called a sport separating zipper.
That's it?
Yeah, Yeah.
Those are the ones I use on my armor. That they work well, but
Yeah,
like
I
I
mean
didn't know that's all
they're
that you
really
need.
crazy strong because they
Yeah.
use teeth and they're not like a coil zipper.
Hmm.
And apparently the plastic zippers are stronger than metal ones tend to be.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause apparently like metal bends. If plastic bends, it just kind of snaps, I guess, is the
is
logic
that
behind
better?
that. I mean, I haven't had mine break on me. So, and
Well, you're
it
also skinny legends, so there's
I mean, yeah,
that.
yes, but I do successfully reduce down about 2 inches whenever I like zip up,
Oh,
and yeah, and I do have like a wider set rib cage, and for my like proportions, I do have like wider hips and a smaller waist. So yes, it looks like it's more significant than it actually is because your skin like goes places when it gets reduced down out of your
right,
waist, right?
right.
But I probably get like 2.5 inches with just the zipper and a friend zipping me up. It feels like that scene from Gone with the Wind where you're like leaning against a bedpost and you're like, I promise it zips up. I promise it does.
Oh my
No, it
god.
really is a time to get into that. But it's just careful pattern drafting and making just like little alterations and using, I mean, that thing uses a ton of boning in it, not gonna lie. There's
That's the
so much.
thing. Oh, but so when I made my even my corset vest, right? Because the boning is going from like the bottom of your waist all the way up your body, up to the top seam of your shoulder.
Mhm.
And when I was asking my friends, and I was like, "Well, how much boning? How much spiral steel boning do I need to make this corset vest?" They were like, "Oh, you need about X number of yards. You should not need more than 25 yards. That's like plenty." And I was like, "Okay." I used all 25 yards, and I had to phone a friend, Mindy, Geeky Seamstress. I had to phone a friend and be like, I need more. I don't have enough. And then I had to go and beg and barter. Not really, she gave it to me, but I had to get like extra yardage of the spiral seal from her because I didn't have enough to finish. And they were like, how did you use so much? And I'm like, I'm a big person and I had to use twice as much as a corset would probably.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Especially for like an assigned male at birth body type, just biologically, we tend to have just more muscle
Hmm.
on our bodies just because that's just the way that a stereotypical male body just is crafted by the Lord or something. And it's harder to reduce down than someone who has a traditionally female body type that has more just fat mass
Hmm.
around, and that it lets you be squishier. So you kind of need more boning if you're a type of person that just can't mold very easily. And I mean, it really the pattern cutting is what is gonna like let you reduce down, but the boning is what makes it possible. Like it just keeps everything like straight and rigid, because otherwise it would just fold down over itself and just totally not do anything. It would look like a rumpled bag on your body. So
Very.
it's just there's so many ins and outs to it, and it was a lot of not even trial and error, but just a lot of research and just crafting decisions because there's so many ways that you can go about making it. And I have been like tweaking the scripts for it since like June at this point. But I keep adding like little things as I think about it because I really want to like make this. I'm calling it a tutorial. I don't know if I'm gonna feel comfortable calling it that by the time that it's out and published, but there's just so much that can go into it, especially when you're crafting it for different body types
Hmm.
and like torso lengths. And I mean there's just so much you can do with it that changes it. So I'm happy to mostly say that I've cracked the code, though I definitely could make it fit me more comfortably in
Who needs
some
comfort? It's
ways.
cosplay.
No,
No.
exactly, exactly. It is definitely something that I can only wear for one evening on a con weekend, because if I wear it every single night, my hips will be absolutely screaming at me.
Oh
It's
god.
just, and I
Well,
don't know if
yeah.
that's just because that my skeleton is twisted in weird ways that the average person's might not be, but um, corsets are they can be very comfortable, and they should be very comfortable. Cosplay, I'll go for a little pain. I'll let a
Yeah,
little
a
pain.
little bit of
If I,
pain.
as long as I look good and people are telling me I look pretty, that's okay.
No, literally, and that's honestly kind of the motto. But the moment that you put this pattern tutorial, whatever you want to call it, into the world, I'm going to be using that shit because I you need to put it out at least in advance of next Dragon Con in a few months in advance
Oh, you
because
got it.
people, yeah, people are gonna want to make a good bunny suit. Like the guys, the men that want to go and be their bunny fantasy, me, I want to go and like I want to use this pattern. So that's your homework, I guess, is what I'm assigning you. Is at least months before Dragon Con, this has to be done.
I'll do it. I can do that. I mean, I'm trying to make it happen before Christmas. To be honest with you,
Ooh,
so
Christmas present.
I have
Oh
a
my
little gap
God.
in conventions here, so I get to have some time to work on my backlog.
Oh, love. Okay, this is something I want to talk about for quite a while, and I haven't had the time to just like bitch about it. I want to hear your hotel room preferences and ground rules because I feel like that every group and every cosplayer has different expectations for what a hotel room situation needs to be, and I think we need to get into it because I've been in some whack ass hotel room situations, and I want you to tell me just from the start, like when you are going to be in a hotel room for a convention for a weekend, what are your expectations?
If everything was how I wanted it to be, and like it was an ideal situation,
Dreams.
dreams, right? Um, there are two queen beds, and there are
Yes.
four people in that room.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There are two queen beds, not full, queen,
Queens,
queens for the queens. Queens, and there are four people. Four, not five, not six, four.
or better yet, and this might be a little
Controversial?
controversial considering a lot of the cons I go to have room blocks, but two.
Oh my
Have you
gosh.
ever had
I
your
just
own
pissed
bed to
myself.
yourself at a con?
Yes, I have, but
And
only when I've been a guest at cons.
but doesn't it change your life?
Mama. Oh my god. There is
Like,
no luxury like only having to share a room with one other cosplayer. Like it is honestly a transcendent experience. It's like flying business class and then having to go back to economy when you have that
absolutely.
when you have that
Absolutely.
hotel room and it's just you and one other person. There was one time I was at Comic Blues in Houston. It was just me and my boyfriend. Not even like that was it. Just us two in a room, and I was like, "Come on now,
So did you have
how
like a
can
whole
you do
bed
this?"
just to throw stuff on then? Or did you
Yeah,
both
or
like have your
throw
own?
others on, but yeah,
Okay, fair.
yeah,
Fair.
yeah, yeah. No, no, it was like so. It was so nice. So okay, but realistically, we know that like we go to a lot of cons. Cosplay's expensive.
Right.
Four people max to a room.
I will do so for ColossalCon, say I'm usually pretty good with booking the kitchen suites, so that has a king bed in a separate room, a pull-out couch, and then plenty of floor space for an air mattress. So I think we did 6 this year and last year in the
Mm-hmm.
room, and that was comfortable because it is a pretty. I mean, there's some square footage in those rooms, so like I'm not cramming 3 people into a bed. I have gone to a Kastucon where I have shared a bed with 2 people, and it was fine. We didn't all take up that much space, but I would like to not do that again, please, if I can avoid
Mm-mm.
it.
Absolutely not. So okay, we have our bed. Oh wait, have you ever been one to sleep in a bathtub?
No,
No way. I know. I already knew the answer before I
absolutely
asked that.
not.
That's why I started laughing. Have
No,
you ever been in a hotel room where someone has slept in a bathtub?
I had someone threaten to, but I think it was just because I don't even remember. I think like it was a room where there were 2 queen beds and then there was like a couch, but it was like a long. It was like a sectional. It was like a long couch with like 2 parts of it. So I guess you could fit 2 people in there. I think they just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to like put the spare blankets in the bathtub and just sleep in there. I don't know if they actually, I don't remember when this was to remember if it happened or not. So I would say, like, short answer, no, but maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I, yeah, I don't think so. I know I've had people sleep on the floor before, but like on things, like on blankets or something.
Which is not much better than just the carpet.
No, really isn't. But
So, okay, expectations for like people's belongings. So, like, you're there with three other cosplayers in your perfect four person, two queen room.
mhm.
What's happening with the stuff? Like, where is the stuff going? How are people managing it? How are you managing your things?
So my usual squads and I do tend to get a little messy as the weekend goes on. We
Sure.
start we start off well. We have a list of, we call it closing duties, and it's in our like group Discord, and it's like a checklist of things to do. I can look it up right now. It's a checklist of things that you're supposed to do before you like go out at night.
Okay.
Like, so when you come back to the room and you're
Trash.
intoxicated, yeah, trashed,
Yeah.
absolutely trashed. I can't find it right now. Of course I can't. Oh yeah, I can. Nightly checklist.
The checklist, the nightly
Yeah, so
checklist.
in an ideal situation, this is what happens every time you like leave the room to go do something. However, like people get late for shoots and you wake up late, you're pressed for time, you're sharing a bathroom, things happen. So we like to at least make this be the standard for like every night. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't always happen, but we go into it with good intentions.
I'm so excited.
So it is, and it's short. It's short. We try to be like reasonable here. It's put your makeup in one place.
T.
One corner of the bathroom counter is fine. In one bag.
Yes.
I don't care if it's in like a grocery store plastic. Like just have it in one place. I don't want to see
vessel.
your I don't want your eyeliner on the bed and then your like eyelash curler is in the sink and your body paint is in the back. Like just have it in one place because I lose stuff all the time.
Oh, of
and I know that other people also do the same thing.
And you know what else I do? I get the little the plastic cup that usually comes next to the sink, and I open one of them, I turn it up, and I put all my brushes in the cup as a little brush holder, and I put that all in the little corner next to my makeup bag, and that's my little tuck away moment. That way I can see all my brushes when I'm working, and they're not flying everywhere all over the table.
Yeah, I have a little like roll up thing that has little slots for all my brushes. So I try
that's high class.
We're over here. It was my mom gave it to me because she didn't want it anymore. So I got to use that. Thanks, Mom.
She was like, "Here, gay, have my leftover."
Yeah,
like,
here you go.
Brushes.
I almost just said a word that I probably shouldn't say online.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
You know what word it is.
I'm like, this is R-rated, but I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if the girls are ready for that on this program.
I won't say it. I'll keep it PG here. But yeah, so my mom was like, "Will you use this?" And I'm like, trying to put up like a performance, like, "Oh, like I guess I like a couple times I do makeup, like I guess I could use it." Like, "Oh, thank you for being generous. I can't promise I'm going to use it." I use that thing every time I go to a con. Like,
oh, I'm sure.
Every time I do put makeup on my face.
Yeah.
So there's that one.
Okay.
Previously worn costumes go back in your suitcase, the drawer, the closet. Get it out of here. If you're not wearing it again, it's going somewhere where I can't see it.
Yes.
I don't care if it's under a bed. I don't care if it's like just anywhere. Put it somewhere. Don't have it in like the walkways.
Yes.
Trash from getting ready. So like, I don't know, like what are like one time like
granola bar wrappers,
granola bars,
like,
dirty Q-tips, fashion tape, exactly. Like things that you use to make food with, like snacks, wig fibers, like throw it away, wipe it up, clean it up. Like if it's not being used, if it's a one-time use and the use has been used, get rid of it. Throw it out, put it away, do something with it. And then dirty towels need to be folded and put in that space under the sink or in the hallway. Yes. I don't want to be stepping on your body paint stained towels. If my friends listen to this, they know it's about them. I love you.
Yes.
Just
cleaning your shit.
Just they put them in the hall this year. So we had a discussion. Just put your body paint in the hallway. Like put the towels, they're dirty.
But they'll know it's you.
Oh, whatever. Well, no, like just put your towels in the hallway so I don't have to do it.
Oh, in the hallway of the room, not the hallway of the hotel.
Oh, no, like the hallway of the hotel. Yeah, like just like fold up the towels and then they can wash them.
Like, place it outside the door.
Yeah, just so like we're not stepping on it and like housekeeping can see. Oh, that's great. But if you're gonna stain the towels, just don't have them here. I do have friends that like will bring their own towels and like know that those are for body paint because like we always water soluble, so it'll just come out in the wash, no problem.
Sure.
But maybe just like wet it, rub it together, get the heavy stuff out, and just don't have it in the common spaces. Put it somewhere.
But you know what drives me crazy too is that there's never enough spaces to hang towels in the bathroom.
Never.
Even having just four. Oh, here's the other thing too. When you check into the hotel room, unless it's a resort, if it's a resort like ColossalCon or like a resort like no, not even the Gaylord does it. Almost all hotels give you 3 towels when you check into the room, regardless of the size you put on the room reservation. They give you 3, so one person will always not have a towel. You have to ask for one. But then if you even have 4 people in a room, there's not places to hang the towels in the bathroom, so you either have to do the thing over the shower rod, or you have to do a thing where like I take my towel and I'll like put it over my suitcase sometimes to dry. Like there's always like the situation where it's like, how do I dry this towel? That way I don't have to call housekeeping to ask for more towels just the very next day.
Right.
I am a proponent of the towel refresh. Like when the housekeeping comes, like, do you need anything? And I'm like, ma'am, you do not want to come into this absolute devil's asshole of a hotel room.
I promise you. I
But
promise you don't want to see this.
you don't want to see this. But I do need 4 good towels and I need 4 good washcloths. Please and thank you. And then we'll do the little exchange and they're happy to be on their way. I will do that, but not every day because sometimes you miss them, right? So
Right.
I need to hang it somewhere and there's nowhere to hang it ever.
Yeah, I don't mind like showering with the same towel for like 4 days in a row. That's totally fine. But if I find it on the floor, I'm getting a new one. You best believe. So, because one towel always gets donated to be the wet floor mat, anyways.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Is that your checklist?
That's that and my friend added make sure the floor space is walkable, and then this is like a kitchen suite specific thing, but dishes in the sink are washed. Don't have no moldy dishes sitting in water soaking until God himself tells you to wash them. I don't know.
Does ColossalCon, do the suites have dishes they provide you? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, if there's a kitchen, they'll give you like some silverware and some cups and plates and bowls and a couple really bad knives, but they're there.
Liv, I want to share some of my secrets. They're not even secrets. They're just like tips that I've had over the years of going to cons, and I want you to share yours too.
I'd love to.
And tell me if you've ever done any of these. So the first one is when making the room reservation, put 2 people on that room reservation if you can guarantee the bed type. And what I mean by that is there's cons where they say, oh, guaranteed 2 queen bed, right? Or they'll say like guaranteed king bed. Or sometimes they don't say, they just like room. They just say room. If it's a convention that guarantees bed type of 2 queens, put 2 people and not 4 people, because the room rates are almost always going to add like $20, $30, $50 a night
if
extra
not more. Yeah.
per person you put on there. And it's like, all you have to do is when you get there, you just say, oh, we have 2 people in the room. That's correct. How many keys? I need
4.
2 per person. I need 1 for my wallet and then 1 for my bag.
Oh.
And then usually they don't even ask you, but if they even like give you a glance, you're just like, I need 2 per person. I have 2 bags. I have my wallet. I have my bag. I need 1 key per. I have historically locked myself out. 2 per person. They don't even ask that far. They get the 4 keys. Now here's the only thing though. If you're one of the, less refined folk, like unlike us that has 5 or more, then it comes a little hard, because then you're like, oh, I have 2 people in the room, but I need 5 keys. 5? Why do you need 5? I need 6 keys.
I usually just go back later and say I lost it.
Oh, that's fair. But then sometimes they deactivate all the keys to your room.
Oh.
I've had hotels where you're like, I lost the key, and they say, oh, okay, and they deactivate all the keys to your room, and they give you new ones.
I've never had that happen, but that does seem like safety. Like someone could just have a spare key and just be going around to the rooms to get into them, I guess. So I suppose that makes sense. But yeah, I usually will just book a room with 1 person on it so I can get through the room block and not be shut out. The ColossalCon Room Hunger Games just absolutely is an experience that has harrowed me every time it happens.
Oh, absolutely. It's
sells
so
out
scary.
in 22 seconds. Crazy.
Or it's broken. It doesn't work. Or it's only accessible via Twitter.
The ColossalCon one actually has been very good over the years. I've never had any like personal problems with it. Like it's always just been like skill issue. Seriously. Like it's just been you weren't fast enough. But yeah, with like Kastucon and I know like Anime Weekend Atlanta, I think had that issue happen too, where it was a passkey issue where it was like opening the room early, or they weren't posting the link everywhere, or like the link was dead, or it crashed because they didn't expect the demand.
Yeah.
Whenever that means.
All these cons have that problem. It's like you think they figured it out by now in the year 2024, but clearly not.
Right.
Also, carts. So this is more applicable if you're like driving to the con and not flying. But I found this from my friend Jenny Ballet. She has this fold out cart that has wheels, and it like folds out of like from a small little thing to like a big thing, and it's perfect for loading up all the things that are loose that can't fit into a suitcase. So like obviously you're going to a con, right, and you have your suitcases, but then you also might have like a box of like liquor, or you might have like a wig that can't be packed into a suitcase, or like a sword. You put all of that in this fold out cart and you just drag that from your car to
and
your
you are
room,
on your way.
and you're on your way. No messing with hotels, no bellhop, no tipping, no messing with trying to get a cart, none of that.
No
You just
sore
have your
shoulders from like carrying your armor in
mm-mm,
like a tote
mm-mm.
bag.
It's like you can get one of these for like 30 or $40, and it has literally come in clutch for so many conventions in Texas. You just drag it. And the reason I bought it first was for groceries. When I lived in an apartment complex in Chicago, we lived in like a high rise, and we had to get our groceries from our car to our apartment from Costco. And so we would bring the cart in our trunk, and we'd load it up and take it to the. And I was like, why couldn't I just do this for conventions? So then I started doing it all the time, and it is so nice. And it folds up. You put it like in a corner, and you forget about it.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, my equivalent for that would be, so I had this brain blast before Kastucon about how to transport wigs on wig heads, and it only works if you're driving. I mean, I guess you could do this if you're flying, though I haven't tried it. I don't know what TSA would do about this, but um, you know, on airplanes they have those like fold down tray tables. Like you unlock it and it comes down and you can put your book on it, your laptop, and do whatever. Well, they make those for cars that just hook around the two poles that support like the driver's and passenger seat headrest, and it just hooks around it, and it's like a fold down tray table. You can lock it in the down position and then just put those tabletop wig stands,
The clamps.
the clamps on it, and then you put your wig heads on it, and it just like your wigs aren't like smushed in a bag on the floor. They're like above everything, and there's room underneath them, so you can just like you can still have like your suitcases in your trunk and on your seats and like on the floor of your car. And this is the best part, your suitcase, if you like put the handle up, you can just grab the two hooks that attach to your seat back and put it around the handle for your suitcase. So if you have a four-wheel rolling suitcase, it keeps your wigs level and you can just roll it with you.
I'm gagged.
Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
you figure this out? Who told you this?
Myself, I've never seen anybody else do this. I was just a genius, and I paid $15 for one of these. Like it was a set of two for $30. It was, and I have two of them, and you can even like hook them onto like bell carts at hotels too. And it just like because it has like a stabilization, it's like a right angle, so it keeps it like upright against any like surface, like any flat surface, like on a wall. So as long as it has something to hook onto, so
Oh
it's
my
one thing you're not
God.
carrying. So whenever I take Cloud oh, he's not there in the frame. Oops.
I see the sword in the glowing in the
He's
back.
there. He's there. I did some set dressing. Whenever I take him to cons, like that's what I do because it doesn't crush the spikes in any way. I don't have to put a bag over things. I can fit 3 wig heads on one of those. So
I'm shaking.
yeah,
This is crazy. I need a link for this tabletop car
I
like
got you.
platform thing
I
because
got
this is
you.
crazy.
And then you get if you get into the hotel room, if you can't find something to like hook the stand onto, well, you have 3 like clamp wig heads.
Yeah.
Like wig head stands. So you can put it like on the ironing board, on any kind of table. I find that hotel tables are never the right like thickness
They're
for
not.
those. Like, and I don't know what it is because like at my house, oh, I have plenty of tables that like fit the clamp wig heads. And hotels, no,
No,
never.
they're doing it
So
intentionally.
yeah, so they do fit on ironing boards just fine. But you have your stand with you, so you don't have to like pack a stand. A lot of times you can even like convert them to fit like a tripod, like for a camera too, if you have the right like screw
Mhm.
attachment. So I was pretty proud of myself when I figured that
That's
out.
so sickening. I can't believe. Oh, temperature in the hotel room.
Mm.
Talk about that.
I think every thermostat is different, and no matter like what you set it to, it's gonna be like different everywhere you go. Um, being from the north,
There's a right answer and there's a wrong answer.
I keep my house around like 70 all the time.
Same.
Okay.
But in the hotel room, I need to turn that shit down as cold as it can physically go.
I don't know
I need
about.
to be jamming on that thermostat because it's never cold enough. When you have 4 people and you're in your corseted bunny suit,
Oh, you are sweating. Yeah, you're right.
it
Yeah,
needs to be. It goes to 65. It's not 65. It's like 672 usually.
it's true. The sensible 72 is not working in a con hotel room. I'll tell you that right
No, it
now.
needs to be blasting. And then I will jam on that so many times until it breaks. Because I've been in so many rooms where it said it was on the coldest setting and we are sweating in the middle of the night. I have been in so many. I've never been too cold in a in a hotel room because I feel like you can always just layer more things on top of you.
That's true. I've been cold like getting up in the middle of the night, like while I was sleeping before, but yeah, you're right. Colder is better for the most part.
You don't sound convinced.
Well, I get cold very easily, so
Oh, just a
I
waif
get a
little
little
thing.
cold.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it depends on the time of year it's at. Though I do have one of my dear friends has a chronic illness that makes her overheat very easily. So we have had it where it's like full blast AC and then like a fan that she brings with her blowing on the bed, and so I'm
Yes.
kind of chattering in my sleep sometimes. But I love her to
Wear
death.
a ski mask instead. That's the
You know what?
solution.
That's a good point. Or sometimes I'll
Because,
do like the blanket like hut
well,
where I'll get
that.
underneath it.
Yeah, get in the cocoon. Well, here's the reality. You can put on more clothes. I can only take off so much.
That's
And
true.
I don't know if y'all want to see everything to the way it could be. I mean, honestly, the girls that I stay with, we've
They've
seen it
seen it
all.
all. They've
We've
seen it
seen it
all.
all. It's the
I've
reality.
peed in the same room as all of these people. Like that scene from Bridesmaids where they're all like shitting in the sink, shitting in the bathtub. Like we've done that.
Yeah,
Like I
oh,
like it's
100%.
oh, and it was a bonding experience. We've never looked back on it without absolute fondness. But yeah, you have a point. You have a point.
I'm like, I can only take off so much before I just have skin. You can put on a parka. That's how I feel. That's my 2 cents on
I
that.
also agree with you.
Yeah. And then I think that's pretty much. Oh my gosh. Well, I've never been in a situation like this, but I know some people do. Okay, so at the end of the day, if I'm bringing in like full on cosplays, like 3 cosplays, wigs, makeup, uh, like props, and then we have like also our normal clothes, I cannot be bothered to bring a crock pot. I cannot be
No.
bothered to bring an air fryer.
No,
I
no.
cannot be bothered to bring a rice cooker.
I I've brought like a bullet blender before.
Okay.
I mean, and it takes up space. Like it's it's a bullet blender size. It's decently sized, but no, we did have someone bring an air fryer to the hotel room once, which was well intentioned, but we sure never used it.
Was it a kitchen or was it just a normal hotel room?
It's just a normal hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So
No.
if it's a kitchen, then we have an oven, and it's the same thing. It just takes more time than an air fryer, so I'm fine with that. But
But people don't even know. They're like, "Oh, I have an air fryer," and I'm like, "That's a convection oven, sweets."
it's a toaster oven. Like
Yeah,
it's a convection toaster oven hybrid baby, and it's
no.
great. I love my air fryer, but I would leave home without it.
Tea. Oh, but you know what I wouldn't leave home without? Which I do all the time is all of my wig styling stuff. I feel like every time I've gone to a con this past summer, I literally left hairspray and I have not brought it with me. And I feel like such a goon and a clown when I get there and I'm begging and bartering for like the
Some spare
Aussie,
got to
like
be,
the
please.
Tresemme. I've gotten like Tresemme. I've gotten like the Aussie, like purple container with the
Tresemme actually
heart.
is my hairspray preference.
Oh, really? Talk
Yeah,
about
the
that.
5-star hold Tresemme.
Yes, that one. Wait, wait,
I
wait.
just
Tell
think
me.
it's so. I think that it has. I think got to be is very wet feeling until it dries. I think it's really easy to spray way too much of it and get like a cast, kind of like a almost like a
A
powdery
white
coating
cast
on like a
almost?
white cast almost on your wigs, or it looks like you sealed it with Mod Podge even because I mean it really
Mm.
is spray glue. That's pretty much what it is. And I just find that until it dries, like it doesn't really have any sculptability. The Tresemme it's in the black can with the purple like accents
Mm-hmm.
on it. It says like 5 on it. It's the strongest one. You can like it like makes the fibers like cling together, and you can really kind of sculpt more with it. It's not as strong as Got to Be, but sometimes I'll just do my styling with Tresemme and then finish with Got to Be, or like if it's just bangs or something and some little wispies, like a little Tresemme, like it'll get your job done, and it smells better than Got to Be too.
Oh, that's true. Oh, have you seen that thing? I gag, I live. Okay, so I am so sick, and I think I've been sick of these. I've been sick of reels. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, I love and hate them. I think there are times suck from both making them and also watching them.
Yes.
But what I also don't like is whenever they're just like literally just completely misinformation, or they're like not helpful at all, or they're like, "Oh, watch part 2." Anyway, all that being said, there's like that one that goes around and it's like, "Oh, this is toxic." And it's like this talk, like some of it is valid, some of it's like, oh, like barge contact cement toxic. It's like, yeah, you don't want to be breathing that in and getting high
Sure.
off of it, right? And then but then I'll be like, oh, hairspray toxic, and I'm like,
Are you
what
eating
are you
it?
doing with this hairspray? Are you shoving it directly down your throat? Like, I don't understand, like, it's like toxic. It's like hot glue, toxic. It's like toxic. Everything is toxic, and I'm like, this is out of control.
I mean,
Like I feel like no.
anything is toxic in a certain dose, right? So I think
Same. I'm toxic in a certain
people.
dose.
Oh, absolutely, I am too. You don't want to be around me for too long, especially if I'm hungry or tired. Oh, but yes, I have seen those a lot.
Yeah,
I
it's
see.
always.
I I see a lot of them with food too,
Oh
and so
really?
my degree is in nutrition, so I know a lot about food and food science. So I see a
Ooh.
lot of misinformation around food online, a lot of fear mongering. So especially with like things that people call toxic, like sugar, it's just
Hmm.
like I see where you're coming from. However, this is not the way to approach this.
Right. Oh my
It,
gosh.
it's, it's
You
just people trying to
probably.
get buzz, you know.
Oh, and I know that your algorithm is probably similar to mine, where it's like, oh, you can't eat these things if you want to do this. It's like all these gym people that are like, oh, you can't eat that. Like you need to cut out all of this, or you need to only eat that. And I'm just like, this is too much. If you listen to all these people, you'd be eating like ice
You would be eating
and
ice and protein
raw
powder.
chicken breast and
Right,
raw chicken breast
raw
and
chicken
protein
breast,
powder and
a
ice.
bucket of white rice, and like a leaf of spinach
Yes,
to get your
yes.
vegetables in. So, but I
Okay,
definitely
yeah.
understand, and I definitely seen those videos too.
It's too much. I
Yeah,
can't.
just wear
Okay.
your PPE, open a window, go
Yeah.
outside, don't huff fumes, have a parent's permission if you're under the age of 18.
Have a parent's permission.
Before you go on DisneyChannel.com, you know, like
No, literally, it's
that's
like me at 16 cracking open like weldwood contact cement in my mom's house and just getting high off the fumes, not knowing what I was doing. Mess. My mom was like,
I
"Go for it, have fun, hearts and crafts."
arts and crafts.
Me over there, like literally seizing on the floor from like the fumes getting to
My
literally,
fingers like stuck together, like no fingerprints left.
literally. Okay, I want to talk about also makeup. So this is like this is like a guest question for you, but like
Ooh.
also a culmination of like a number of different questions I got over time, and I never thought that it was robust enough to put into like one like question. So I'm gonna try to articulate this the best I can. Um, so makeup, right? I get questions on the show and also like myself about like, oh, like why do you need to wear makeup? Or like it's always from I think it's usually the cosplay guys
Hmm.
that are like, why can't I just put a wig on my head? I don't wear makeup. Or they're the ones that like usually wear like a mask or a helmet in their costume or something. And then they're like trying to cosplay like Link for the first time and they're just like not wearing makeup. And they're like, well, why doesn't this look like the way I want it to look? I want you to talk about your makeup and like the process and why you think it's important because your makeup looks beautiful. What did I say again? Pretty cosplayer, pretty men, accurate
Hmm.
statement.
I mean,
I'm talking makeup.
the pretty isn't totally natural. There's some of it that comes from within, but it's not. A lot of it comes on top too. So, first of all, I want to preface this by saying, do whatever you want. Cosplay is a hobby. It should be fun. You should be able to do whatever sparks joy, whatever like lets you feel every single individual oat in the oatmeal container.
Absolutely.
Please do that for yourself. And if that means going barefaced, just a little chapstick,
And mascara.
that's mascara and some chapstick.
Yeah.
Then that's great. That's awesome. However, I have seen too many photos of myself in the very early days of my cosplay career where I have had either no makeup on, like not even moisturizer, or I've like just put foundation over my lips and it has harrowed me. Absolutely horrific.
Wait, time out,
Like,
time out. I imagine this scenario in which an unmoisturized Jack is putting on foundation like lipstick.
well, no, yeah, yes. Well, because anime character or anime boys don't have lips. They're
But you
just
just had it on your lips and literally you didn't have anything else. So
no, no, no. I was 14 and growing up in a religious family, and I was not about to do a full beat. Like, first, like I knew how or could afford all that,
right.
but so and in my early days, I definitely would Photoshop the makeup onto my face to make these photos like even like remotely postable. Like they're objectively like you take my crafting skills when I'm like a year into cosplay, no makeup, bad wigs, like didn't know how to pose,
Mm-hmm.
awkward, like it's just a recipe for disaster. So I learned very quickly that wearing a full face of makeup that is
You gotta
primer,
take a
color
breath.
correct, foundation, concealer, contour, blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, sometimes false lashes, contacts if you're feeling zesty, eyebrows, sometimes face paint because some characters have weird stuff drawn on them.
Mm-hmm.
It is everything. It's everything. And if I forget one step of it, I tend to notice these days.
What
So,
is like your so like okay, I'm gonna like go through my like first of all, do you start with your eyes or do you start with your face?
I usually start with my face. I have, yeah, I'll usually start with face. I don't remember a time where I've started with my eyes specifically.
Okay, I started to do my eyes first because I okay, so obviously every time I cosplay, I'm wearing makeup. If it's my face is showing, I should say that obviously. If my face isn't showing, I'm not putting on makeup or
Mm-hmm.
nothing. But I have found that sometimes catastrophe can strike with eyeliner. And I
Mm-hmm.
also find myself pressing up against my face sometimes to do eyeliner. And so when I do that, there can be a chance where I'm either removing my foundation from my face or I am messing it up and having to wipe away some of my eye makeup, which can then take away some of the foundation or highlighter, not highlighter, concealer that's around my eye.
Sure.
And so I started doing my eyes first and then like doing my base around it as like a safety measure for myself. But maybe that's just because I am Boo Boo the Fool and I will have catastrophes ensue in the bathroom, maybe. But I used to do my base first because I thought like, oh, like I'm doing my whole face, I'm putting foundation over my eyes and everything, and then I'm just going over that with like products and stuff. I started just doing the what I started to do is like just found primer on my eye area and foundation on my eye area. So there'll be a foundation like a raccoon, and then like it'll be like a raccoon on my face, and then I'll do the make eye makeup, and then I'll do the rest of the face later. That's what I. But I have to do contacts first too. Is the thing. Like, do you wear
Yeah.
contacts on a daily basis or no?
On a daily basis, no, I do not.
Okay. So like I can't put contacts in after my makeup is done. I have to put them in at the beginning of my makeup. Like, are
I've
you the
I've
same?
I've done it. So I do wear circle lenses for cosplay, and I have
Mm-hmm.
done it where I've like changed lenses out like with makeup on. I prefer not to do that, but sometimes your lenses are just kind of cloudy if they're like a special effect kind of lens too. So like sometimes you just kind of have to do it after your makeup, or your makeup's gonna look real funky once you
Mm.
finally see it in like with clear vision. But um, yeah, I've done both, but I try and do it before because it's just easier, and your eyes can water before you do eyeliner and eyeshadow and all that. So,
Exactly. I always have to do it first. My friend Megan, she can like literally put in her contacts. She wears contacts every day. She can put her contact in after all her makeup every single time within one go. Just like, oh, it's done, and then walk out the door. And I'm like, I hate you,
I'm
bitch.
pretty good at doing it. Especially considering I don't wear contacts every day, but I definitely don't prefer to do it after makeup is done. Just less error there.
Right.
Because I've
So
used
okay.
contact solution as remover before too, so it definitely will just take it right off if you.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a saline solution, so it kind of acts like your body fluids do. So it can like if you don't have any makeup remover, like contact solution does something. Like it will do something.
Is it like micellar water?
It's not the same at all. I don't really know how they're. No, it's not the
You're
same at
like,
all.
you
But like,
stupid bitch. It's not
but
the same at
like
all.
no, like they're just different things. Like, as micellar water, if it gets in your eyes, that stuff hurts. But
Right.
I mean, I've just been in a pinch and I've needed to get like some eye makeup off, and I've used contact solution and it's worked. Like, it's not water. Like, it has like some salt in it, and
Oh my god.
yeah, so it works in a pinch if you really need to just get something off your face.
I'm shocked. That's a tip.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
okay, so for base, like, okay, I'm gonna tell you the steps I do, and then we're gonna go through the whole process, so that the people can understand what we go through,
yes,
and I
yes.
want you to tell me whenever I deviate. Okay, so first, we're gonna be washing our face, right?
Oh,
And we're gonna
100%.
be yes, washing. That's the foundation is washing our face. Oh, also something I end up doing is I end up delaying doing any type of eyebrow tweezing until I'm at the hotel because I always forget and I look in the mirror and I'm like, I have so much hair growing in between my eyebrows right
Well,
now. And I
same. And also the hotels have like, I don't know what hotels mirrors have in them, but they are like HD compared to
mm-hmm.
my like home mirror. So I did the same thing.
Yes. Okay. So
Absolutely.
first, tweeze eyebrows, wash face, skincare, moisturize, right? All those things. Then we're going to be going in with we'll do base first, a face primer of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using the One Size Sweat Control face primer recently because I am a
Ooh.
sweaty bitch and it literally locks I don't know what it does. It's like temporary Botox for your face. It like locks in your sweat glands in some way, and so you don't sweat as much on your face.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you know like there was that tip of like using Monostat, like that like vaginal cream on your face for like primer? Have you ever heard of that
Yes.
before? Okay, I feel like it's a
Yes.
similar concept. I feel only
You
it's
just
like
said that so casually, and I'm like, uh-huh, vagina cream on your face.
well, you know what
Continue.
I'm talking about.
I do know
So,
I do.
yeah.
Well, it's like washing your hair with summer's eve and it makes like your hair curly. Like
I don't have curly hair, so
well,
I
like it's I'm not going into this right now.
okay,
Continue.
okay. So, okay, we'll do like the face primer of some kind, right? Depending on your skin type, what you want, what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're gonna be doing our foundation. But oh no, here's the thing. Here's the other thing. I think I need to start color correcting. Do you have to, or do you not?
I don't think I have to, but
I think I might need to start color
it makes me
correcting.
feel better that I do because I don't have super like my facial hair is pretty like sparse. I mean, you can definitely notice it if I don't shave for like a whole day, but
A day.
what?
I feel like I go like 4 or 5 days before I have to shave. So you're
Well,
probably
well, I mean, like, yes, like
yeah.
for like if you're an average person, like looking at me, like, yes,
Oh, you
I
mean
can
like
do
for
that.
cosplay?
Yeah,
Like
for
for
cosplay,
cosplay. Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So if I'm like assuming I'm like shaving my face like every morning before I'm getting into
Yeah, yeah,
cosplay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't really have a shadow, but I do use like a peachy tone just to kind of put on my chin because I know that's kind of where I start to get like
Mm-hmm.
some spottage. Um, but I mean, I don't really notice a huge difference if I do or don't, to be honest with you.
Okay,
It
is it
just
like
makes me feel
placebo
good.
effect? It's
Yeah,
placebo effect.
a
I feel
little
like
bit.
I need to try it. I didn't need to use to. I feel like I do now. Anyway, so maybe that, but then we're doing like the foundation, right? And then after wet foundation, because we're using either like a stick or we're using a liquid. I use
Hmm.
liquid.
Same.
Then we're gonna be doing a concealer.
Hmm.
And then we're also going to be I do a cream
So
contour.
do I nowadays.
Oh, bitch.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So I do the
I'm
cream
dry, so I need more
contour.
cream products on my
Yeah, yeah,
face.
yeah. So we'll do the cream contour. And then after we blended all of that out, if that's all of the wet products I'm using, I will then go ahead and use setting powder.
Hmm.
Just like a translucent setting powder over everything. Then, if we're still doing base, I will do a powder contour on top of where
Also, same.
okay,
Yes,
okay, a powder
yes.
contour on top of where I did the cream contour. And then I will do like maybe the powder. Usually my contour has like a highlight powder. I
Hmm.
might just do a little bit of that on like the highlights of my cheeks, and then I will also depending. Usually I don't use bronzer usually, but sometimes if the character calls for it, I will use a little bit.
Yeah, especially for like
Um,
redheaded characters, I will warm up
yeah,
the
yeah,
face a
yeah.
bit more.
The hard thing though is the blush. That's where it can go crazy because I
Oh,
feel like not in a good way, in a bad way. I feel
oh.
like if I use too much blush, and by that I mean more than just a smidgen little drop of blush, I can look like like I'm either sunburnt or something wrong is happening.
Do you use like a
Like
liquid blush or
no,
something?
I use a powder and then I also have a cream blush, but I
Hmm.
have the two different the cream blush is only for Lucifer. That's supposed to look crazy. But the powder blush, I have to just use a little tiny bit on my nose, a little bit there, a little bit here, and that's it. I can't use that much. I have to be so careful.
I feel like maybe the blushes I use just aren't super pigmented, but I feel like I always use quite a bit, and then I always wish I put more on, so I tend to pack quite a bit on,
Oh,
actually.
really?
Yeah.
Which one do
I
you use? Or most of the time?
for a cream blush, my go-to is a Stila one, just because
Okay.
I wear it in life too. It's like a nice orangey kind of like tone.
Yeah.
And then I have like think it's like a Makeup by Mario one. For skin products, I will like things that are going like just on my face, like moisturizer, foundation, cream, contour, and blush. I'll splurge a little more just because
Same.
I want it to be like
You're in
there.
good company. You're in good company.
I'm in good company. Yeah, like not everyone. I mean, you never have to like splurge. You can just buy drugstore makeup, but I just like to splurge, especially because I don't do a full face of makeup all that often.
Well, that's the thing. It lasts so much longer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I have like a Makeup by Mario cream blush that I use as well, and then I'll usually powder over that too, and then I'll use like some powder blush. Like I like it's like a CoverGirl palette that I use. It has like a more like taupey, not taupe, like a mauve kind of shade, an
Okay.
orangey one, and then like a lighter pink and a darker pink. So you can kind of pick a little bit what you want to use.
Gotcha.
So depending on like what the vibe is,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just find that I tend to use a lot of it. Um,
I'm gonna go look at your pictures now. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, there's a lot where you can't even tell I'm wearing any, but I think
Really?
I do pride myself on like doing a pretty good beat where it's all kind of
Oh
blended
yeah.
into itself and it's pretty like doesn't look super crazy. My
No.
makeup has definitely gotten more toned down as the years have gone on. Though, like, isn't that how
Mm,
makeup has gone in general? Like
I think
2016
so
makeup versus
too.
like 2020's
Oh,
makeup,
for
it's just
sure.
changed a lot.
The trends have changed. Okay, so we finished. Wait, we did the blush,
Hmm.
and then we're done with our base at this point. Our base is done, I
Hmm.
think, at this
Maybe I'll
point.
do setting spray at this point if I'm really feeling
Oh,
sweaty, but like
yes,
not
you can.
always.
You could do settings right now, but then you're gonna do your eyes. So okay, I feel like I don't know if eye primer is real or not. I've started to use it. I feel like I don't know what's happening.
I never notice a difference unless it's like a pigmented one that's like white or a super pale color.
Mm,
So I also think it's kind of placebo effect because I've definitely forgotten to use it and not really noticed a difference. Because all your eyeshadow at the end of the day is going to blend into one color anyway.
yeah, no,
I've never
you're so
had
right.
the luck of it not doing that. So
Yeah. So I will do like eyeshadow. Well, do you do your eyebrows first or your eyeshadow first?
um, it kind of depends on the character. Sometimes I want to do the eyebrows just to kind of get like my frame of my face like set so I can see how far I want to bring the eyeshadow up and out. But
Mm-hmm.
mostly I probably do.
I think I do too. I think I do my eyebrows first to frame my face, like you said, to know what area I'm working with, which is not a lot because look how recessed. Like I'm so hooded. I barely have any room. So it's hard. But I'll do my eyebrows first, and then I will do eyeshadow, and then I will do my eyeliner, and then I will do mascara. And I don't think I've ever worn false lashes for cosplay before, personally.
I have started doing it less just because I feel like I don't always need it.
Mm.
Um, but I started for, I mean, I do a lot, or I mean, I think I still do a lot of like shoujo anime type characters where they are like
Oh.
so I am the pretty boy cosplayer, so they do have the luscious lashes, and also I think that falsies can do a lot of like correction for like bad eyeliner and bad eyeshadow. Like I think they just are an easy cheat code to make your makeup look better. And you can just get like a half set where it's like barely anything, but just like the strip on the lashes can really just kind of help things like really come together and look nice. I
Yeah, that's so
find
true,
I'm
actually.
also insane and use the black lash glue. I don't use the clear or the white one. I use
Why?
the black. Well, because it fills in any gaps that you miss, like on your eyelashes with eyeliner. Like I
And you're
don't
good
like to
enough to do
pack like a
that?
ton of like tight liner in because it hurts my eyes. So I just will use the black, and it's worked for me. And I've never had any horror stories, knock on wood, with it. But
I curse you in your name, and in the next convention, you're gonna have a horrible time.
well, I'll remember this, and I will. I'll start earlier, and I'll bring makeup remover with me.
Oh my gosh, no, it's so funny. So our process is like pretty similar. It's like
Yeah.
almost the same. Then I think that's like the foundation. I think that's the fundamental. And I feel like depending on the character you're doing, you just change how much or how little, or the placement, or
Hmm.
oh, lips are the only other thing. So like with boy characters, I have like a nude lipstick from like I think it's from like Anastasia Beverly Hills or something. That's like
Yeah.
just a nude lip.
I use like a Charlotte Tilbury. It's Pillow Talk. It is the
Mm.
exact same color as my lips, but it's a pigment that's going on top of them. So that's just all I. That's just all I. That's it.
So you color your lips with the same color as
I
you.
mean, yeah, but like Pillow Talk is like a really well known I mean, it's the lips color that a lot of the characters in Bridgerton used to wear before the
Mm,
seasons kind of got glammed up. So it's very natural looking. A lot of the Pillow Talk colors are, but like the shade name, it is like the Pillow Talk lipstick range in the shade Pillow Talk. And I'll go in with a slightly darker lip liner. And then sometimes I'll blend like my bottom lips in a little bit with just some extra
yes.
foundation, just to kind of. I mean, it depends on the art style of whatever
Right.
I'm cosplaying too. Like, if it's an anime, like sometimes I'll just do a little more blending and some more lining. If it's like a Final Fantasy Square Enix character where it's very natural, I'll just kind of do like little lip color and then I'll blot it just so it looks kind of
Right.
natural. And I'll just throw it in my bag so I can reapply during the
And I
day.
found that
But
also like applying full on foundation to your lips usually for me does not work well. But like
no,
what does work well is blending in the foundation from like the bottoms or like the sides of my lip and
yeah,
just like kind of blending that in because then it kind of diffuses the pigment of my lips in a way that's more natural without having like the cakey, creasy like lip from the
that's
foundation. You know what I
exactly what I
mean?
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I do have chronically dry lips. Like it's just, I've tried everything. It's just, I have dry lips. So I will tend to use like a gloss sometimes. When I'm cosplaying a prettier boy, or if I just feeling zesty that day. And I think it definitely smooths out your lips a lot. Not every photographer knows how to like shoot with a really glossy lip, I will admit, but
Hmm, interesting.
I at least I've heard that from people before. I've never gotten a photo back where I've been wearing lip gloss and been like, ew, like they didn't know what they were doing, but it's something I've been warned about before. So I just know that if you're shooting with lights, maybe it can like really reflect, but that's it. That's pretty
Hmm,
much it. And I'll
that's
do a
it.
little speck of highlighter, tip of my nose, Cupid's bow.
Oh, the highlighter too.
I'm not
Girl,
really huge on highlighter these days anymore, but
I don't really use it. I feel like saying all this out loud, it's so high maintenance, but at the end of the day, it's like, I feel like this is what. Oh, one more question. When
mhm.
you're getting ready in the hotel room with the makeup, what are you doing? Are you like silent like a crypt? Are you playing music? Are you talking to friends? Like, what's happening? What does this look like for
I am
you?
playing music usually, and I can talk while I do my makeup too. I mean, because usually it's all of us getting ready at the same time, or these days it's usually me getting up first because I'm kind of a morning person these days. So it'll be me and maybe our other roommate that is still waking up with a cup of coffee and they're like squinting through their eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like holding a conversation and they're like, yeah, right. So I definitely, I mean, I like to be social. I like to make getting ready a social process
Oh, for sure.
personally. I think it's just
I think it's fun.
I think it's
I
fun too.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I have to have music on.
Hmm.
I have to have like something playing to get us up, get us ready, get us hyped. Usually, well, depending on time of day. Now, if it's
Hmm.
after 11, we might be having mimosas in the
Hmm.
room while we're
Hmm.
getting ready. Maybe sometimes not
Sometimes I'm too
mimosas.
stressed about the eyeliner. I need something to take the edge off.
At
Like.
100%, 100%. It's literally, I feel like it's the moment where like collectively all of us gather and we're all, it's all like, it's such a vibe. Like I don't know why I feel like the only time I'm ever doing makeups in a hotel room at a convention with music playing with my friends with like sometimes a little morning beverage, and it's just like so it completes the fantasy for the convention in such a like profound way, I think.
Listen, I love a little like Irish creamer in my coffee in the morning, like at a convention. So delicious.
Love. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved having you on.
Thank
I literally
you.
could keep talking forever.
It's been
I am so mad that you're all the way in Ohio.
I yeah. Yeah, I'm a long ways away.
I know. Did you just look at the time and like
I
gag?
did. I did. I did. I'm like, what do you mean it's been almost 2 hours?
That's why we had to stop. People are literally gonna be like, "What the fuck is happening?"
You're like, what do you mean? Like,
Um.
it's been great to have me. Like, we just started.
Oh my god, I know. It's that's the problem when you get two homosexuality dads
Oh my god.
in a Zoom call, and then it never ends. So I'm gonna read the outro and then come to you at the end.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for joining another episode of the Cosplay Crunch. If you would like to submit a question for one of our fantastic guests, please email us at cosplaycrunchpod@gmail.com. Please also rate us on your podcasting app of choice as it helps the show grow. You can also follow us on those apps. That way you get notified when we release episodes. And also on Instagram at Cosplay Crunch Podcast for the latest news and announcements. And also on YouTube at the Cosplay Crunch Podcast if you want to see us in the flesh. That is an option for you. Jack, where can they find you online? And do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Yeah, so all of my socials are the same across all platforms. That's JackErufu, so it's JackErufu. Erufu is the Japanese word for elf, so I just worked that into my name, but you can pronounce it like Urufu if it's easier for you. Um,
Arufa.
I'm Arufu. Well, it's just it rolls off the tongue instead of having to pause and
Yeah,
pronounce it right. I'm on Instagram. We're calling it Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I still have a Facebook page. Don't find me on Facebook.
same.
Don't do that. I have a TikTok. Don't find me on TikTok.
It's a
Just
dark
go to my
place.
Instagram or my Twitter or my YouTube. And Twitch. Yeah, I already
And
said
Twitch.
that.
And when do you stream on Twitch? Do you have like regular?
I try and stream every Friday these days. I'm trying to do it more often, but I at least do it every Friday. I will do cosplay work in progress on there. I've been playing a lot more games recently because Twitch streaming is the one chance I get to actually sit down and relax and play video games these days.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also am bad at games, so backseat gaming is actually always welcome in my stream, unless it's League of Legends. Don't talk to me if I'm playing League of Legends.
Are you a competitive?
No, I just know that I'm bad and don't need your advice.
Okay, one parting word, and then I will shut the hell up. I literally was playing a League of Legends game with my partner when we first started dating, and I was so bad that the enemy looked at me when I was in the lane, and they walked around me. They didn't even bother attacking me. They just walked around.
They should have just called you a slur at that point.
I know! I was so embarrassed, and then I literally never played again. Anyway, okay, what are your parting words of wisdom for our listeners, or just anything you want to get off your chest?
My my parting words are: as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, do what's right to you. Have lots of fun. Be kind to others, and do what sparks joy.
Sparks joy. Love. Thank you so much again. And until the next episode of the show, we will see you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ba-dum-bum. Okay, now I'm going to stop. The Cosplay Crunch podcast is hosted by Savage Cosplay, with post-production also by Savage Cosplay. Original theme music by Katie Fairbanks. Logo and graphic design by Owl and Coffee.